The powers that be are spending money to investigate ORMs within the testing on military subjects within the context of anti-radiation, in the sense of not being getting sunburned and being able to withstand radiation that naturally comes from such things as welding. And so the ORMs are orbitally realigned molecular elements that you may see people touting under the name of like white gold. But not all white gold is ORMs. ORMs are very difficult things to engineer. And basically what they do is they, for instance, a gold atom is pentagonal naturally. Gold is really cool. It's the second on the chemical order of most stable isotopes. We start off with tungsten, which has no natural stable isotope in nature. Then we have gold, which has one, then silver, which has two, and then we run through all of the other precious metals, platinum, rhodium, iridium, etc., before we're getting into the base metals. But anyway, gold has these 5 molecules, or 5 atoms that clump together to form a natural gold molecule. And ORM is where they take that through a process and collapse it in on itself so that all those 5 atoms occupy the space that used to be in one atom. Okay? The ORMs are ingested on the theory that they're going to lodge and support structures within the pineal gland, and there's some support for this. Again, the military is in the process of investigating them as a sort of, I guess loosely you could describe it as an immune booster for things like radiation. So one could suppose that it may help that way. But it's not my advice to anybody to go on out and ingest these things, especially since most people are so woefully ignorant of their own chemical systems and what they've got in them already, that you'd be very unwise to do so without extensive research, because anything that goes into the pineal gland is going to be activated by light, may cause may actually impact the ability to sleep again, and good or bad, I don't know. But it's also in a situation where it's going to be awful hard to get out of there.
Interesting stuff there.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
But, they're naturally occurring, and they're also manufactured, so there's and you can have an ORM of virtually any of the more precious metals. And there is some suggestion that ORM iridium is at the connection between the consciousness and the physical material world.
Okay. That gives a lot of people out there a lot of things to chew on and to think about, and that's
better research it.
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Don't come and blame me if
Right.
all of a sudden you light up and start twitching.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you have to do your research to be sure. I think we've got just a couple of minutes left here in this first hour, Cliff. When we come back, we're going to finish up part 6, which is the powers that be is part of it. We're going to do the markets and the conclusion, because the conclusion is pretty interesting. It's pretty short, sweet, and to the point. We've also got some questions that we're going to be asking of you in regards to, as it relates to what's going on not only in the here and the now, but also getting back to that October 26th date. Because that seems to be another marker here in the grand scheme of things for what's going on, what's going to be coming up. And for those of you who are listening, we are talking about part 6. We're staying right on point with that. And we will be back again at the top of the hour. We're going to have a 5-minute break. So for those of you who would like to get up, stretch your legs, go grab some more Java or tea, whatever it is that you drink, and come back and join us, that'd be great. We got some music for you. You can find what is George's site? What is
urbansurvival.com.
Urbansurvival.com.
Go to his daily posting, and that's where he discusses our stuff.
Right, exactly. So you can get a daily update there, or however often he posts at urbansurvival.com. We'll be posting that to the front of my website so that you guys can find that. So for the rest of you, stay tuned. We'll be back with more of Clif High, Part 6, coming up right after this break. All right, everyone, welcome back, and we are here with Clif High of Half Past Human, and welcome back, Clif.
Thank you much.
All right, it's good to have you here. We are going to continue on with Part 6, and kind of go through it here. I've lost my place.
We were at the powers that be.
Yes. See, you're better at this than I am to remember your own reports there.
Usually I forget all of this stuff because it's so many pages, but I've got it right in front of me, so we're good to go.
All right, so let's go on with the powers that be.
Yeah, again, basically we're finding correlation within this entity that the control mechanism that we spoke of in the populous entities is indeed going to come unplugged, and we think it's probably the press. And basically that amounts to if the powers that be are becoming extremely fascist, then they won't be having the press deny that anymore, and you'll have a much harsher environment globally relative to that. And we're showing a lot of the data sets that do go to the idea that this power control mechanism is going to be, they're going to lose that capability. And as part of that, apparently a lot of the less than savory actions of the political elite and these other people will start coming out, which again is going to start pressuring the people that are at the heart of those acts, and they're going to start acting a little psychotic, simply because they won't have any mechanism for spinning the nastiness, so to speak.
Huh.
Make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, and again, we may be seeing some component of that because we have the idea that some of the powers that be are going to start, again, as part of the coagulation, there's going to be whistleblowers that will point fingers at people. These people will be in a position to where if too much pressure is put on them and they crack, then they represent a danger to those above them. So we're going to start seeing more and more of the disappearances that we discussed in some previous versions of the Alta report for the last year. Some of the disappearances were just on the order, or described anyway, on the order of just a portal or, interdimensional kind of thing opening up and scooping up these guys and closing, and no one knows what happened or why, and no indication whatsoever. A lot of the other disappearances, though, are entirely man-made and to serve the powers that be.
Yes, makes sense. And, years back, I don't know if you remember, there was a rash of scientists that all,
Sure, microbiologists.
Yeah, they all went away.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of interesting.
The top 15 or 20 in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Curious,
Yeah, very curious. Kind of a little coincidental for me.
Yeah.
All right, so let's keep moving forward with this because we got lots and lots of stuff left.
Sure. As the powers that be entity was analyzed, it became rather clear that the events of the October 26th, November 5th time period are the actual ignition from the match to the tinder relative to revolution at a global level. As the press becomes less effective for them over the course of summer, things start heating up, especially in Europe, over very late summer and through September and October, and we get to the situation that the powers that be have to start making some rather nasty decisions that they'd rather not, and that is, how are they going to react? They won't have any ability to spin it. It'll be rather difficult for them because we're still showing at that point that information flow through the Internet is essentially unrestricted. And in fact, that within both this and some other entities, we find confirmation that as part of the whole revolutionary process, we're going to have a whole new crop of, I guess, celebrities, if you will. And these are going to be individuals that have, at great risk to life and limb, and let me point that out, and we'll come back to that in a second. These individuals will be taking videos of actions that are unfavorable to the powers that be. Not only just law enforcement, but other areas. They'll be capturing things on video and putting them on YouTube that these people just don't want out there. And many of the individuals that will be doing the videoing will suffer greatly, and according to our data, some of them in the midst, especially in France, in the July through August period, will pay for it with their lives. So, it's not anything to aspire to.
No.
It's going to be very dangerous, and we're talking out-and-out active revolution. The real problem is, from our viewpoint, and that is to say those people that are not part of the powers that be, here you are, you're thinking, well, there's got to be a revolution. We've got to change, country X, whatever country we're part of.
Right.
But that is not at the core of, and you understand that at some level, that changing that changes nothing. That we have to change much more than simply national social structures, that what's ongoing is a planetary populist movement against the powers that be. Only perhaps, let's be charitable and say perhaps 6% of the populace of the whole planet is aware of the things that we discuss on your show. Okay?
Okay.
Excuse me. If that's true and that 6% is there, the other we know this from techie stuff in terms of how things are adopted across social spectra, because they analyze this kind of stuff. How will the computer penetrate various markets, etc. Following those same kind of logics, we know that 6% represents, if you will, the early adopters. And then ultimately there's this chasm that you come to, and it's called crossing the chasm, and that's when you make a success at a technical product because it goes mainstream. We know from our linguistics that the emotions that powered that 6% into active revolution in the fall have already spread across that chasm to the mainstream. Only the mainstream populace is unable to articulate the emotional state that they find themselves in, and that's why we keep coming back to the idea of sheer reality and cognitive dissonance. Make sense?
It does.
Okay, so when the revolution goes active, that's yet another undeniability kind of thing going on.
And there just seems to be more and more and more and more of that coming forward.
Correct.
Well, our eyes will be opened whether we want them to or not, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
So now's a good time to, get strong to go long, as we say.
Right.
Basically, harden your heart or your perception as to how things are, and be sure of the facts that you're willing to take action upon, because we're looking at a situation that will be chaotic beyond most people's understanding. There'll be a whole lot of people that will be caught up in the political process and will say we can cure our ills by curing this political process, and if only we had an active third party in the U.S., or, if only we had an active 43rd party in France. So the political process will cure it. And in fact, that's not the case. It's just yet more thrashing around in the froth of it all. And unfortunately for the situation as a whole, there's going to be actually some level of education as we go through in fall relative to what's occurring between October 26th and November. And that is also going to be coming out more simply because the powers that be have lost this press arm. According to our data, it fades significantly in late summer. And so, again, compounding everything.
All right. And what else in that particular, the powers that be segment, would you like to wrap up with that, or did you want to move to the next one?
Might as well go to the next one. Basically, it's just more of the same with these guys. They have an attitude of they must protect their power base, power is all for them, etc. These are the people that reputed, or I've actually spoken with members of government at a federal level, that is to say, denizens of the inside the Beltway in D.C., former civil servants and appointed official guys that were, rather candid. They have seen and know that the free energy stuff exists. And those kind of devices, if you will, the extraterrestrial, et cetera, that we've reverse engineered in the whole thing, are indicated in our stuff. It's coming out as part of the whistleblower set. And that, again, is part of the whole consternation causing problems for the powers that be. Because they don't want us all sovereign with our own little, universal go buggies, because we'll just go.
That's true, we will. And then, then where's the control?
Sure, who's going to bring them their tea?
Right. Where's their slaves? Where's their minions? You know, and their way of life is not